Hello vinyl community, this is Randy. Back today with another video. Today is October the 19th and I have picked up a few records in the first part of October. Some of these actually I think go back to the last part of September. But I haven't shown them yet. So I'm going to show you these records today. Actually there's a couple of CDs I'm going to show you too. So I'm going to start with a CD here. The first one that I have to show you is Jar of Flies by Alice in Chains. This is a CD. This was an EP that came out in 1994. I saw Chris at Record Talk doing a video a week or so ago about some of his favorite EPs. He was looking to actually do one on vinyl EPs and one on CD EPs, and he did the first one on CD. So he talked about this Jar of Flies by Alice in Chains, and sounded really good. Sounded like something I would like to hear. I really was not familiar with Alice in Chains. I know they were a 90s band, but for some reason I never listened to them back in the 90s. Here's what the CD itself looks like. Inside of the case. Yeah, I never listened to them back then, so of course I've heard of them a lot and everything, and Chris made them sound really good, so decided to go ahead and pick up this CD, used CD, in very good shape, basically like new with a CD. I mean, there's no glitches or anything, it plays through just fine, so sounds great. Has the lyrics here in the insert. Picture of the band on the other side of that. So yeah, I listened to this. Sounds really good so far. So thanks a lot for the tip, Chris. I'm sure that I'm going to listen to this more. And yeah, sounds excellent so far. Yeah, Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies. I got a few singles here, which I'm going to show you. The first one here is Collectibles. So this is obviously not an original issue, but this is Runaway by Del Shannon. Believe it or not, I not have a copy of Runaway by Del Shannon. I used to have the American Graffiti soundtrack, and it's on there, but I don't have that anymore. And yeah, such a fantastic song. Whenever I think about this song, I always think of the Tom Petty song, Running Down a Dream, where he sings, me and Del were singing Little Runaway. This is where that comes from, Runaway. Fantastic song. If you've never heard it, I recommend it. You sample it, check it out immediately, and I'm sure you'll love it too. Got this Columbia Hall of Fame, so another reissue single, double-sided hit of the Byrds doing 8 Miles High on one side and Turn, Turn, Turn on the other side. So Columbia Hall of Fame. So these are reissues, and I was glad to get this one though, because this has the I think this was the single version of 8 Miles High that was released. It was played on the radio and everything. This is the one that they re-recorded in Columbia Studios. They did their first version of 8 Miles High. They recorded it at RCA Studios and were not able to release that one because their record company did not want to release a record that was recorded at RCA Studios. So what this is a, I think it's like a Rhino, or I guess it's just like a Columbia Records, Sundays. It's a Sundays reissue that actually releases the RCA version of 8 Miles High. So now I've got both versions. So the one on this blue vinyl here is 3 minutes and 19 seconds long, and I guess the official one that was released and played on the radio is 3 minutes and 35 seconds long. So, you know, I guess everybody has their own opinion about which one they like better. I think they're both great. I don't really have that much of an opinion on which one is better, but huge Byrds fan. So, so this one I already had, and this is the new one. So, yeah, I got that one. I picked up this copy of The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, doing Fire. I have the album. It was actually some VCLT from Vinyl Richie a year or two ago. But I decided to go ahead and get this single, just because it's a cool single to have, I think. The flip side is called Rescuer, which is a fantastic song. Whenever I think of the song Fire, now I always, if you remember the very first part of this song starts out with the guy talking, you know, and he goes, I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you Dave the Pickup Artist. So I always think of Dave the Pickup Artist now, but this is the real actual song. I was glad to get that one. I picked up this 2-for-1 record of Jeff Beck. This is the Jeff Beck group. This is not the Jeff Beck group that had Rod Stewart and Ron Wood. This is his group that he formed after Ron Wood and Rod Stewart left to join the Faces, and so he picked up some other people. So he picked up the drummer. What is that drummer's name? I meant to write it down. This is Cozy Powell, yeah, is the drummer here. So Cozy Powell, of course, went on to be in Rainbow, and gosh, did he maybe play with Black Sabbath some or something? I'm not sure who all he played with, but a very well-known drummer. And Max Middleton on keyboards, and then Bobby Tinch. I think this is Bobby Tinch here on vocals, and then a bass player that I had never really heard of before, and I can't really remember what his name is right now, but this is a very cool 2-for-1 set with both of their records. This came out in 1989, so this compiles the Rough and Ready album, which came out in 1971, and then one that's just called the Jeff Beck Group that came out in 1972. I was kind of surprised when I'd never really heard these albums before. I was kind of surprised when I heard them that the first one, actually, Rough and Ready, to me sounds more like it's closer to what Blow by Blow became, you know, which is more just almost like straight jazz. Sort of a jazz fusion, sort of laid back and mellow. And on this one, they went back to what seems to me is a little bit more of the, a little bit more of the Yardbird sound, or the previous Jeff Beck group, you know, with just sort of a basic straight ahead rock and roll sound. So they both sound great. I'm glad to get both of these. And here's a gatefold. So this is what the original album covers look like. And there's the back of it with the track listing. Another interesting thing about this is on Rough and Ready, they didn't use the original issue. They took out one song and replaced it with this one called Max's Tune. That Max's Tune was used on a previous reissue that was the, I think, part of the Best Buy series or Nice Price series or something like that. So I don't know why they replaced one song, but that's what they did. And there are some liner notes here. Extremely hard to see this. An interesting thing about that was I already had this other issue, this other record, which compiled the two Rod Stewart albums that he made with Jeff Beck, Truth and Beckola. So it's kind of interesting how his records got compiled into these 2-for sets. But yeah, it's really good. It's a good way to hear all these albums that haven't spent a whole lot of money. So that was good. That was on. It's this That's Original series. So this is a UK pressing, and you can see on the front of this there is an HMV price tag, but it has a $ sign on it. So I'm thinking it must maybe be a Canadian pressing. I think Canadians use dollars up there, so I'm not really sure about any of that. But here's what the label looks like. That's an Original is the series. Castle Communications, I think, is the label. Jeff Beck Group. Picked up this copy of Never Say Die, Black Sabbath's 1978 album. This is their very last album with Ozzy, well, up until he came back and joined him again later. This is the last album with Ozzy the first time around, so 1978. And yeah, I heard this. I've heard this one a lot back in the day, and I hadn't heard it recently, so I was glad to get it. It comes with this printed inner sleeve, no lyrics though. And it's just on black vinyl. It's on Vertigo Records. Unfortunately, it's not the Vertigo Swirl. This is the has the spaceships up there. Well, now when I look at those spaceships, I think of the Boston upside down guitars. Don't those look kind of like upside down guitars with the Electron out there? So yeah, Never Say Die. I think it sounds really good. Yeah, fantastic album. I guess one weird thing that you kind of need to be aware of on here is that the very last song is called Swinging the Chain, and it's sung by the drummer. I was reading some stuff about it online, and evidently Ozzy didn't like the words that they had written for him, and he refused to sing it, so the drummer sang it. So kind of unusual, kind of shocking when you hear that. It doesn't sound bad necessarily, but yeah, it's not Ozzy singing for sure. But he sings the rest of them, and yeah, I think it sounds great. I mean, there's some really good songs on here. Never Say Die, the title cut, and yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, Johnny Blade and Hard Road, Junior's Eyes. The whole first side is fantastic, and it's like I said, pretty good too. Actually, a really cool thing about this one is this song called yeah, I guess it's Air Dance, and then maybe Breakout. They really have sort of a jazz fusion quality to them. There's some keyboards on this record and stuff, played by, I think it's by Don Airey. So yeah, I like the jazzy parts there. I think it sounds really good. So Never Say Die. Exciting thing about this one too is this is the last Ozzy Black Sabbath album that I needed. So in the next week or two, I'll be doing a Black Sabbath retrospective of their first 8 albums. So something to look forward to there. I picked up this Best of Earth, Wind and Fire. Wanted to get this record forever. I've been looking for a good used copy, and this one was in really good shape, so I finally went ahead and picked it up. Earth, Wind and Fire. I guess sort of a soul, funk, R&B group from the, well, I think they probably, maybe are still playing today. I'm not certain about that. Great band. This has, it's the greatest hit, so it's got a couple of songs that weren't on albums. So Gotta Get You Into My Life, I think it's from the Sgt. Pepper soundtrack. And the other songs on here, I mean, the reasons I really wanted this were That's the Way of the World, Shining Star, and September. I think September is probably their best known song. I just think about that. It's certainly a great song. And yeah, Earth, Wind and Fire. I'm really glad to get that one. Comes with an inner sleeve with the lyrics. American Recording Company, ARC. Got this record by Warren Marsh. Warren Marsh is a tenor saxophonist from the, well, he started out in the 50s. He actually worked a lot with Lenny Tristano when he was first starting. So Lenny Tristano, a piano player who was known for sort of taking a different approach to jazz from some of the mainstream bop players, and I think focusing more on chords, and sort of a, he was known as sort of a cool jazz. So Warren Marsh was one of his students, and yeah, so this album was recorded in 1987. Warren Marsh was born in 1927. Unfortunately, he died in December of 87, just a few months after making this record. He died on stage in Los Angeles, had a heart attack on stage, so tragic. This is on Interplay Records, and this is a very basic album cover. As you can see, there's just like a black and white picture of him there in the studio, and then on the back of it, they just repeat the same picture. They didn't get a different picture. He has this really fantastic guitarist named Ron Eschete, I think, Eschete. Fantastic guitarist. Jim Huart on bass. I don't know if it's Huart or Hughart on bass. And Sherman Ferguson on drums. Sherman over here. So these are, I think these are all originals. all written by Warren or a member of the band. And no, sorry, there's one cover on here, All God's Children Got Rhythm by Yurman Khan and Capert. Other than that, they're all original songs, mostly written by Warren. There's one written by Ron Eshtay called Blues Warning, spelled W-A-R-N-E-I-N-G, so sort of a play on Warren's name. And it's really cool how he shares so much of the record with Ron. That's basically almost a guitar solo song, but there is some sax on that too. So yeah, I really like the playing on this. It's not too frantic, it's not hard bop at all. It's kind of melodic sounding, and yeah, very enjoyable. So Warren Marsh, 2 Days in the Life of Warren Marsh. This came on this. Well, it came with this United Artists label, but I don't know if that's really what it's supposed to have come in or not. But like the album cover, the label is extremely bland too. But you know, I guess they were focused on the record, on the music. So that's the important part. Cast Your Fate to the Wind. This is the Vince Guaraldi Trio. I've got about 3 or 4 Peanuts records, and I love Vince Guaraldi. You know, and I was asking myself when I got the most recent one, you know, would I still be buying these if it didn't have the Peanuts characters on the front? So this record is sort of a good answer to that, because this does sound, still sounds like the Vince Guaraldi Trio. They have a very recognizable sound, and this album is fantastic. So I think I answered my question. I think I would still be buying those records. And this is Jazz Impressions of Black Orpheus, so I think that was a play or a movie or something. It must have been a musical. And if you heard these songs, on side one especially, are the ones from the musical, from Black Orpheus, you would recognize every one of them. I didn't know them before I heard this record, but they're all very recognizable. And then the first song on side two is Cast Your Fate to the Wind. Other than that, he does some covers, Moon River, Almaville, and Since I Fell for You. Well, sorry, Almaville is an original. It's by him, by Guaraldi. But yeah, these are fantastic. Done with the Vince Guaraldi Trio. So yeah, I was really glad to get this one. Big Vince Guaraldi fan, and yeah, this is on this cool fantasy label. It's like a maroon color. I guess this must be the color they use for mono records. This record's a mono copy, and I've never seen that maroon color before. The fantasy records I've seen before, I think, have been on sort of a purplish label, so I had to get that one. The Groovy Sound of Music. This is Gary Burton playing music from The Sound of Music. So there's Gary right there, extremely youthful looking. So yeah, these are jazz versions of the music from The Sound of Music, and let's see, this came out in 1963, I think. That Cast Your Fate to the Wind album was 1962. So that Cast Your Fate to the Wind, that was before his first work with Peanuts was in 1963. So I assume probably the Peanuts guys must have heard his work on that Cast Your Fate to the Wind record and decided he would be good for the Peanuts. So Groovy Sound of Music is 1965. And in addition to Gary Burton playing on this, it has Phil Woods on alto sax and clarinet, Bob Brookmeyer playing trombone, and Ed Shaughnessy on drums. Ed Shaughnessy from the Tonight Show Orchestra. So it all sounds really good. I've really been enjoying this one. And an outstanding version of my favorite things on here. It's a little bit more upbeat than not quite so meditative as the Coltrane version, and yeah, more upbeat I would call it. So yeah, very enjoyable. Let me just pause right here just for a second. Okay, so I got this record by Herbie Mann and the Bill Evans Trio called Nirvana. So this is the version of the Bill Evans Trio with Chuck Israels on bass, Paul Motion on drums. So yeah, this is just Herbie Mann, a flute player, playing along with the Bill Evans Trio. So there are 2 originals on here, Nirvana and Kashmir. Other than that, they're doing Willow Weep for Me, Lover Man, Cole Porter's I Love You, and a song I've never heard of before called Gymnopedy. Gymnopedy? Not sure how you pronounce that. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty much what you would expect. It sounds like Herbie Mann playing with Bill Evans Trio, which is fantastic. It's all very mellow, very laid back. This would be perfect for my morning listening. This is definitely something that I would listen to in the morning. So, really glad they got that one. This is on this Atlantic label. Bill Evans. Oh yeah, I was just going to point out I had this CD that I got in the, well, when did this come out? Mid-90s, I think, which is Herbie Mann. The name of the CD is Peace Pieces. Bill Evans had a song called Peace Piece, and P-E-A-C-E-P-I-E-C-E, Peace Piece. And so this CD is Herbie Mann playing the music of Bill Evans. So, there's no repeats though. There's no songs on this one that were on that record that I just showed. And then finally, the last record I have to show you is Suddenly It's Spring, Zoot Sims and Jimmy Rolls. This is on Pablo Records. I pointed out before, we're going to show Pablo Records. They usually have these very memorable black and white album covers, just a black and white photo usually. And Pablo Records, I think, was formed by Norman Granz in the 1980s, and he sort of went back and got some of the jazz guys from the 50s who were not moving into the fusion and stuff that was so popular in the 70s and 80s, but they stuck with more of the hard bop or even just traditional jazz. So this is really good. Zoot Sims is a tenor saxophonist. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Rolls. He's a piano player. He's a very well-known accompanist. So this also features George Mraz on bass, which just shortly after I got this, I learned that Mraz had died. He just died within the past couple months. And Akira Tana on drums. So these are mostly, I think, originals on here. I Can't Get Started. They do a cover of I Can't Get Started. I think these are mostly originals. So, yeah, Zoot Sims, Jimmy Rolls. That's what the Pablo Records label looks like. So, yeah, so that's it. Those are the records I picked up in the first part of October of 2021. So, yeah, a lot of jazz in there, I guess, and some rock too. So, yeah, let me know what you think about these records. I'm always interested to know, and I hope everybody's doing well out there. Thanks very much for watching.